Good morning, folks. Thought I would do a quick video summing up the challenges and overall experience currently with Synthesis League, or Alzheimer League, as Reddit is calling it. So, as you can see, I now own the wings in all of their glory. I don't know if it's been worth it or not. I'd say I'm glad I've got them. Whether I'll end up using them or not, I don't know, but I don't own many wings. So, they're kind of cool. And I'll probably end up using them at some point, and we've got them. So, wanted to, again, just pretty much run you through the challenges, how I felt about them, how I feel about the challenges in general, give a quick word on each of them. So, without further ado, we'll just get into it. So, first of all, we started off by writing down each of the challenges, right? And this time, I've tried to be as quote efficient as possible in doing the challenges and making sort of an idea of which ones I want to do and which ones I want to skip. So I wrote them all down, and sort of as I completed them, I made a note of when I completed them, did I have to go out of my way to complete them, and sort of how I felt about them. So we'll bring up the challenges and we'll get to the ones that I ended up skipping, but we'll just run through each one. If you're interested in how I did them to get the reward, I'll let you know, and how I feel about them. So this set of challenges, I would say I grinded a little bit more than average, and it was a little bit more tedious in some aspects than previous 36s, but I don't think it was the toughest 36 we've had. I think the wings are pretty achievable. So, number 1, complete a Val side area. This was done through the campaign with absolutely no sidetracking, nothing. I didn't have to go out of my way. Whilst I was leveling a brand new character, I wanted to go into the Val side areas to see if I could get any good stuff that would sell early on. Complete the synthesis quests. This is, I believe, pretty much just, again, playing the game, doing some maps. This happens naturally, and this one is absolutely fine. We then have complete the quests. You do have to go out of your way for 2 of these, but they are not like difficult quests by any means. They take about 1 second. They're in really low areas, and this is pretty much a challenge that is in every one. Really simple. Defeat the bosses, which is basically get through the campaign. Craft some mods. This is going to happen naturally. If it doesn't, you can just chuck a rubbish item onto your bench and go, okay, I want some res or something, you know, and that's no problem. So we'll keep a note, right? So far, there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 easy ones. Now, defeat the following rare synthesis monsters. For me, just playing the game at my own pace, I had 13 out of 15 for a long time. Then GGG patched the game, something to do with rare synthesis monsters, and pretty much the very next day I got the challenge for defeating some of these monsters. So there was probably some sort of bug where the rare monsters weren't counting or weren't spawning, and that one again just happened naturally. I didn't have to do any target farming for it. Act bosses, which is effectively complete the campaign. You're going to do that one naturally. These ones, yeah, you do have to go out of your way, but basically, you know, you're just going to go into your stash. You're gonna press G. You're gonna look, okay, what tier is Burial Grounds? And I just was like, okay, Burial Grounds is tier 6. Go into your maps, look for tier 6 if you've got one, which I don't, and I just alt it. I'd alt and then get twinned and then just regal, and then I'd get the twinned prophecy or the twin challenge, and I'd get the completion. So 2 birds with 1 stone. So yeah, you can roll these. Yeah, sometimes it can be a bit awkward to roll twin, but you're only having to do 5 maps. Sometimes they just happen naturally. You're gonna get that one. Complete memories 2, 3, and 4. That is basically when you go into a memory, you're gonna wait, and it's gonna be 2 exits, 3 or 4. Nothing complicated there. You're 100% gonna find that, even just in the campaign. Defeat the Elder Guardians. This is effectively complete one of the chains of the Xana questline. So the Xana questline sort of leads you to do some influence in tier 6, tier 7, and this one does take some time. I don't know if I've got any specific note for this one. Defeat Elder Guardians here. I completed this at 100 Atlas. So that took basically 100 maps because I was just only doing maps that were on the Atlas. I wasn't like... So let's say I did Curse Crypt. I then just instantly moved on to Dungeon. Either buying it through trade or, yeah, asking a friend or a guild member for a dungeon map. So I didn't do like, oh, I'll farm loads of Curse Crypt until a dungeon drops. I just did basically 100 maps following the storyline of Xana. And at 100, I got some Red Guardians and I defeated them. So that one was fairly easy. Explore the Atlas to help restore Kvass's memory. Whoa, spoiler alert. Yeah, that's just going to happen pretty much the second you get into maps. Shape of Strongholds, these are these things here. Again, this league, because I was just purely going for challenges, normally, I know it sounds daft, but normally I wouldn't do them. Like, for example, let's say this was on Desert Spring, and I hate Desert Spring because of that goddamn boss. I just wouldn't do it. But this time, I just went out of my way, and I just was like, okay, let's just get it done. Again, we've got a few people in the guild. I would just ask, does anybody want it? They would give me theirs. We'd trade a little bit back and forth. If you're really struggling to get 20 strongholds, you can always buy them in trade, 820, which is a grotesque, horrendous place, but it kind of works. So, you know, there is that. But just share them. If you get a stronghold, say to somebody, oh, do you want to come in? They'll probably say, oh, I've got a stronghold, do you want to come in? You can share those, that's pretty easy. Defeat GGZII. As a lab runner, I ended up with a load of frag pieces. So I just went and killed GGZII when I felt my character was strong enough. You have to go out of your way for that. But early on, scepter drops, flasks, all that good stuff sells. So it's not really a big problem to go out of your way and do that. Complete these encounters. This is going to be the first challenge where you might have to go out of your way, and it might be a bit difficult. So defeat Doji the Defiler while screaming. To premise, I did all of these challenges on Ice Spear totems, which cost about 1 exalt to get going. So I farmed lab. I had about 7 exalts, and I made a really cheap Ice Spear totem build, and then I basically thought, oh, I won't spend that currency because I might need it for challenges. So this is more awkward to kill her while screaming because obviously you can't control the damage with a totem. You can't say, whoa, stop shooting now. With a regular build, you're going to be able to just get her really low, wait till she screams in colour. Defeat Guardian of the Vault after defeating 4 animated Guardians and not been hit. So again, this was really awkward with totems. There's actually a clip on my Twitter. And basically, I'm weaving in and out of the vault circle. And I'm trying to not get hit by the circle zones that land. And I'm trying to place my totems in and out of the... I'm trying to place my totems in and out of the big bubble. Because if my totems hit the actual vault guy, he's going to die. So that was a bit awkward, mainly again because I'm totems. I had to sort of run around, get my totems to kill 4 guardians, and then the main guy. Sometimes I didn't. But honestly, I did that one first time with totems, so it can't be that difficult. Defeat Stonebeak, Battlefowl, and Gnar. That's a canyon map, I believe, off the top of my head. That's basically just run into the boss area and one-shot them all. I'm sure your builds can do that. Now, defeat Fragment of Winter with at least 10 summon Volatile. That's actually pretty difficult. I actually got my friend to help me with that one. Because I'm totems... if I place my totem down to kill the boss, it is just going to shoot all of the little ads that spawn. So I ran up to the boss, it would spawn a load, I would pull them away, and I'd just be running around in a circle, and I'd go and get some more. And when I think I'd got about 8, and he saw near the boss, couple 3 or 4 had spawned, he would then just kill the boss. Again, that one's probably going to be a slightly awkward one. You can see people selling it in trade chat for 10C if you're really struggling with it, but just grab somebody, hell, just even ask someone in a trade chat, ask someone in global, yo, do you want to help me with this challenge? I'm sure you can communicate, hop in Path of Exile Discord or something, ask for some help. Complete 100 memories, again, pretty much one memory a map, and yeah, you're going to probably do about 30 in the campaign, probably after about 70 maps, it's going to be that magic number, 100, and you're done. You don't really have to go out of your way for that one. Complete distant memories. These are what we look at here. I don't know if I've got them. It's slightly awkward because each time you make a new character, this board resets. So on this character, I actually don't have a boss. I actually haven't played since the new patch, so I'm not too sure what this is, but we'll have a look later on. This is just effectively do the mini bosses. Even for me, who really had nothing spawn in the memory nexus, eventually, if you're just doing maps, these 4 will spawn. And if they're not, you can, what I can recommend is if these really aren't spawning, again, you can go to Quarry. You can go to Quarry. You can run around. You're gonna find Xanolite pretty much instantly. You dive in there. You do a memory, and what I was doing was I was just clearing all of these memory nodes. Now it might have changed since the new patch, but I was just clearing these memory nodes and then waiting for something good to spawn. That's what I was doing. So that just happened naturally for me, but you can kind of force that. Again, also, if you're really, really bothered, I'm pretty sure these sell for like 5 or 10C in trade chat. There is a secondary challenge attached to this, but for this particular challenge, it doesn't matter what eye level they are, what level they are, or what mods they have, or how you complete it. You just have to kill them. So that's fairly simple. So if we count how many we've got right now, we are currently at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we're at 16 challenges already. So you've already got the crown. And we're at 16 challenges. And we're looking pretty good right now. So where are we? We've got distant memories. So we've got, let's remind ourselves, just so I can keep, because I've got Alzheimer's. You know, Alzheimer League. So we've got 16 right now. So the next one is going to be Synthesize a Fractured Unique Item. You're going to get this from the boss. If you don't get it from the boss and you just can't find one to kill, or sorry, to synthesize, I'll bring up some things that you can go to. So for this one, you're just gonna get literally a fractured unique item, and you're just gonna add something to it. I can show you which one I did. So you can search fractured in here. You can search fractured modifiers, let's say 1, item category, or rarity, sorry, unique. You just, oh, sorry, how do I, am I messing this up? Why is that not working? Oh, it's because I'm searching relic, sorry. I was like, am I doing something wrong here? So you can just look for anything. I looked for rings. They're like 4 chaos orbs. If you don't happen to have one drop off a boss, you just take the ring, you add some other crappy rings. I'm sure there's technically better ways to do it, but I just, you know, here's my rubbish that I've synthesized. And, you know, you just get the ring wherever the hell it is. This one. And mine ended up getting lightning damage taken when hit. It was Herald of Thunder, something. Not very good. So, yeah, you're just going to take that into the synthesis place and do that. That's no problem. Synthesize items with 1, 2, 3 implicits. You're going to find 1 and 2 naturally. If you haven't, just go to Escape, Options, UI, Show... It is like show detailed mod description, advanced mod description here. Turn that on. Now, when something drops, you can look at this and go, is this 1 or 2 mods? You hold Alt. This has got 2 lines and the separate suffixes, so this has got 2 modifiers. So just wait till you've got 3 of the same. So I just kept my 1 items until I got 3 of the same. Then I kept my 2s. Till I got, say, 3 boots, and these are some of the items I've made. They're all absolutely hot garbage. I don't know, but yeah, that's what you can do. If you're looking for 3, that was difficult when I was doing the challenge because 3 were really rare and expensive. But now the bosses from the main Cortex, I believe, drop 3 fractured modifiers every single time, so they're going to be way more common now. So what you do is you go to PoE trade, you type in fractured modifiers, minimum 3 any, and you're going to want 3 of the same base, so you can just figure out what is the cheapest for you. Don't sell to these absolute arseholes in trade chat selling them for 1 exalt, because they're not 1 exalt. So if you go into trade 820, if you go to trade 820, and I should probably turn off D&D. I think that's how it works. Is trade 820 dead? Maybe trade 820 is dead for some reason. Anyway, if you go to trade 820 and you see somebody, you'll see wanting to sell 3 implicit challenge for an exalt, just don't buy off him. Like, you can already tell how much cheaper they are. When I bought them, each one was 20C. And the way Path of Exile is, I thought to myself, I can buy... So what I did was I looked up which is the cheapest. So for me, 2-handed swords were the cheapest because nobody plays swords. And they were 20C each. I got 2 for 10C and 1 for 20C. And I thought to myself, I can afford to spare that extra bit of currency right now. And if, for example, they don't do what they've done, which is make a boss drop 3 implicits, and they do stay as rare as they are, when people eventually get to this challenge, it's going to be super expensive. And I don't want to be paying exalts for an item just to ID. So I went ahead and I paid about 40C for my 3 items in total. And I just picked some swords. So here you could do, you know, let's go right to the top. 5C, 10 coins, and 10C. You get those 3 2-handed swords. You go to your memory nexus. You chuck them in. Boom, boom, boom. And then you synthesize. And that's how you do the challenge. So if you see anyone trying to sell you some 3 implicit stuff for expensive, don't do it. Just have a look on the trade website. It's way cheaper now already than when I was doing it because of the patch. But I thought I'd lock that one in case it didn't get changed, and then it'd be expensive. So complete unID'd rare maps. This is just going to happen. As you can see, I've done 14 out of 10. Like, this is just going to happen. Sometimes they're going to drop unID'd. Sometimes I think it counts if they're corrupted, rare, unID'd. But yeah, that again is just going to happen. Just keep note of that challenge in your head. So when you see an unID'd rare map drop, just be like, oh, I'll keep that and I'll run that. That's going to take you, again, 10 maps maximum to do that. That one's really simple. So to achieve Ascension, that is, again, complete the campaign and do the Labyrinth. You're all going to do that if you want your 4 Ascendances. Complete Memories. Now, here we get onto a bit of a... one that was a bit of a grind. So through playing the game, just completely naturally and not doing anything special, I had 43 memories. I got incredibly stuck on Ritual Memory and River Crossing Memory. So much so that I was mapping so much and running Quarry so much, and the memory just simply wasn't appearing, that I was beginning to believe it was bugged. So if you actually go to Google and you type in River Crossing Memory Path of Exile, you actually come across my post where I was asking if it was bugged, and I also asked on Reddit, how the hell do you find it? So when I came across this, now this is just my budget science, I came across this one, and this guide said that the Ritual Memory could only spawn in area 45 to 50. So I was like, okay, well, I'll farm area 45 to 50, right? Area 45 to 50 is like this kind of area. This kind of area, right? You can get 45 to 50. So it's about Act 6. Yeah, it's just about Act 6. So I was like, do I farm Act 6 and try and find it? Eventually, I thought, okay, I'll do that. I'll work on that. So I went into this zone, and what happens is, because you have unlocked Xana as the memory guy, when you now go into the coast or a lower area, Kvass is no longer there, and yeah, Kvass is no longer there, and you can't do any memories. So I was like, damn, do I have to make a new character? So I ended up making this bow character because I wanted to play one anyway. And I basically leveled up, and you don't have to do this, by the way. You don't have to do this, but that's what I did. I leveled up, and I went to area 45 to 50, and I farmed it. And after like my second zone, ritual memory happened to pop. So I don't think you need to do that at all. It can be in 45 to 50, but also what you can do if you're really struggling and you don't want to make a new character, you can go to Act 6. I'm just saying what I did. Maybe you don't have to do this. You can go to the notice board and you will see these people doing Act 6. So you can join them, tell them to have leveling downscaled enabled so they don't get screwed. You can port to them, right? You can port to them, and because they have made the zone, the memory is here. So then you can go into the memory and you can go ahead and run the memory. And if it happens to be a ritual memory, and well, not really a spoiler, the ritual memory ends up looking like the not Val Temple, the bit where Yena is, where there's the gap in the middle and she does fireflies. That's like the memory you're looking for. Now, how I figured this out was kind of so yeah, you can just run this, you know, again, oh look, you might ID some stuff or whatever, but that's what I did anyway. I use these guys for memories. That's an option. The rest just happened naturally. So again, river crossing and ritual memory. What I ended up doing was, I don't really know how I came across it, but I'll give you a rough idea of how my brain worked. So I went to Path of Exile DB, and I won't be able to find the link now because it'll take too long. But I pretty much went to... is it Kvass? So maybe it's Kvass, maybe it's not. Anyway, he has some voice lines. And I couldn't find where to go. So maybe I looked up Kvass, or maybe I looked up Xana. Whichever one I ended up looking up, the voice line that happened to play when you were inside a ritual memory and a river crossing memory kept speaking about Val, kept speaking about how you'd be stabbed in the back with a sword, and I was like, okay, been stabbed in the back with a sword, a temple, it must be this. And then once you know the voice line, I wish I could find it for you because it would make it much easier. You then know when you're actually inside the correct one. So I'm not going to be able to find it right now because the video will end up being too long. But basically, she had certain voice lines that would play when you get inside memories. And yeah, that's how I figured it out. I'm pretty sure it is just RNG, but it did happen that once I'd figured out the voice line and the map, I did then run the map, and it was in there. So maybe that helps, maybe that doesn't. But I checked out PoEDB. I found the actual voice line that plays when you're inside the memory I needed, and then figured out what map that was in. I don't think it needs to be that complicated at all, but yeah, maybe that helped, maybe that didn't. So that's how we did that one anyway. That's probably just going to happen naturally. That was kind of an awkward one. Complete these encounters: 200 prophecies, 40 breaches, 40 abyss, release an essence of hysteria. Release an essence of hysteria, honestly, if you just map and you chuck essence on your maps for 3C, you do it in a high level area, you get to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, because if you get a 4 essencer, you corrupt that. If it turns to 5, that's a challenge. If it's in an high level 80 map, which is tier 13 or above, I believe. Or you can sell it and people pay like an Exile for that shit. Or you find the purple essences and you use a remnant of corruption on them, and it can turn into one of these, and you can release it yourself, which is what I did. Now, 200 prophecies is actually a grind, but if you really do just set your mind to it and you don't procrastinate and you do, after each map, do your prophecies, it is actually really quick. So for this one, defeat Dodri whilst holding the Chalice of Horrors. I've got a load of uniques that I've just held on to. I think that is a Chalice of Horrors. So yeah, I could do a Chalice of Horrors now. Now, normally in the campaign, or sorry, in the game, I would never bother with these. But because it's a challenge, I've just been working on them. So some ones that are super awkward and I don't have the item, I will just seal. But most of the time, I'll be like, okay, how do I do a particular one? If I wasn't sure how to proc it, I would just look on Path of Exile Wiki. Just look on Path of Exile Wiki. You type in the prophecy, like, well, let's just do one. Fire and Brimstone. And this might seem awkward. It might seem really painful to do this 200 times. This one is a signal fire. So Fire and Brimstone, that, you know, you could then go to PoE Trade or Path of Exile Trade. I prefer the main website, but if you want to go to PoE Trade, I'll just use the main website because I think it's better. You just go Fire and Brimstone, search, is it worth anything? Oh, it's worth 1C, like if you care about selling it. But I was just doing them. A lot of the times you're going to get super easy ones, like, you'll probably find, like, if you fill out your board and then run a map, you're probably going to proc 3 a map. And remember, you need to complete the prophecy, not just have it proc. So let's say you have a lab trial, you will find an ascendance, trial of ascendancy inside a map. If you just touch the map, if you just touch it and go in the zone and then leave, that will be fulfilled. You don't actually have to complete it. A lot of these are just going to happen naturally. You'll get ones like read a lost chapter and lost maps. For that one, I was just going to, sorry, not Crossroads. I was just going to the Chamber of Sins. Where are we? I was just going to the Chamber of Sins, you'd load in, the maps would proc, and then you'd just read something, and then you'd get some scrolls. Anyway, if you just set your mind to just doing prophecies after each map, just filling your board, it's not that painful at all. Abysses and Breach, they just happen naturally. I didn't do anything for those. Just through mapping, I did 40 Breaches and 40 Abysses. If you're struggling, you can just chuck Breach on for 4C. Or you can do what I found worked pretty well was Act 6 Coast. It seemed to, and the same with Quarry, you get Abysses quite often. So if you're really, really struggling and you just want to get out of there, you can just, like, there you go, there's a prophecy. These prophecies just happen. Yeah, you can just run around, but honestly, I would just map for that. Don't go out of your way to do Abyss and Breach. They're just going to happen naturally. You don't need to pay for them or force it. And again, that's what I just be like, oh, I proc that right back into a map. Just remember to keep seeking prophecies. And again, you get another one that's just going to proc in a map. So they're really simple to do. So this one's fine. Connect memories to rewards. I actually skipped that. The whole time I've made 3 characters. The only new thing that has ever arrived was fossil items. That gave me 4 dense fossils, which was great. But honestly, throughout all these new characters, all I ever get are jewelry nodes, armor nodes, weapon nodes, and that's it. Now, I don't know if GGG have changed anything to do with this in the latest patch, but this one is really painful to do because I just don't see anything new. One of the reasons I got a bit bored of doing the Nexus was nothing new popped up. Now, defeat the Syndicate Mastermind. This one is a grind. What absolutely sucks about this challenge, and I'll show you, is you cannot do this on multiple characters. So if you didn't know, if you go to each one and you hold control, if you hold control and click, it brings up their related sort of zone. So if I hold control, click on John, it brings up this board. Now, as you can see, because this is a new character that's just started mapping, it has given me a completely new board. So all my information has been lost. Now, what was honestly one of the main factors that caused me to sort of quit out of the league, or sort of take it just way less slow and just do challenges, was these characters are really close to having a safe house, right? They were really close to having a safe house, but I really just don't enjoy mapping on totems. It's awful for this league. You need to be fast, and it's just not great. So this character is 88% done on a safe house. It's 95% done on fortification, 77 on intervention, but I can only get information playing this character. So if I want to complete my safe house, I have to play on this character. So what I've been doing is I've just been doing daily missions, and not actually mapping on it. But I really dislike the fact that the boards are separate. You should have an option to link board or like keep them separate or something. But it's really frustrating having to be stuck mapping on a character you don't enjoy anymore or don't want to play. Because this game's about, well, it's about making new characters and experiencing different play styles. And frankly, being forced onto one character for a challenge does suck. So that one sucks. So I actually haven't completed the mastermind. I paid for that one, so that sucked. So where were we? So I did all the other ones, but again, maybe you can pay for these in trade. I know you can pay for the mastermind. I'm not sure on these. This one is a bit of a grind, but you'll get there eventually. But you just got to do all the betrayal encounters and the daily betrayal missions. The next one, complete memory modified memories. This, I don't know how rare this is because I have seen people selling these mods for like up to 25C per slot. This just happened naturally for me through playing, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was just clicking anything. So there's probably a way to do that is a better method, but for me, I just clicked random stuff, did random zones, and that happened. Sorry, that's not very more like detailed, but yeah, that's just like a random one. Complete memory fragments placed on memory amplifiers. These are these squares. So if you ever get a piece like that, just go and run it. You can run this one 3 times, so that's 3 out of 20 already. Connect another one, boom, you know, that's whatever. That one's super simple to get. Connect memories. This one seemed difficult at first, but it actually was really easy once I figured it out. So the 20 memory run, here's what I did. I've actually recorded a video, but I didn't end up posting it for some reason. You basically run quarry or run some super low level area, right? And you get, so you delete everything and you basically have a new board and you start to fill in pieces like this. And you make a 10-man chain, okay? And what you want is, again, 1 connected to a distant memory and 2 on amplifiers. So you find a zone that has 2 amplifiers pretty close to each other, right? You then create a 10-man chain, and they all have 3. You're going to go into your memory nexus, and you're going to create, so you're going to get 2 of them connected up here, and a distant memory is again just one of these nodes, so any node like this. So how I did it was I created like, and it can only come from one area of the nexus. So I created a 10 place bridge, and well, actually I think I can just show you, which probably would be more beneficial. But yeah, you just create a 10-man bridge and then connect them all, and then you port back. They're all going to have 2. Then they're all going to have 2 or 1 charge. If you've got 1 charge, just delete them and refarm quarry for the same piece. Then when you've got a 10-man board that is going to have 2 charges, you can then run through that and then place the next 10 as you go, right? So you pre-plan your next 10, and as you go, you're going to place them. If I'm not making any sense, it sounds really complicated, but it's really not. It's effectively create a 10-piece board that works, and then farm another 10-piece board and pre-plan it, and then as you're running, you just placing them as you go. There's nothing honestly complicated about it at all. I'm looking for it now. I'm kind of watching my videos back, just trying to find out the correct place. So I don't think this was it. Let's sort by date. Is this going to be it? Anyway, so yeah, that's really not that complicated. It seems like it's super complicated. It's not. Sorry for the kind of rubbish explanation. You're just making a 10-piece bridge, and then you're going, basically. You're absolutely flying. There's no problems whatsoever. So I can't find the video footage, probably because I'm a moron. But you get the gist. There's nothing complicated about it. Maybe this was like, here we go. Look, I'm not so much of a moron. So this is what my bridge looked like. So I had a 10-piece bridge. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I had 18 pieces. It can only connect to the memory once. So you're going to go and create. You're going to run this one, place. Run this one, place. You're going to run in, place to the left, but not go into the zone. You're then going to ignore this because this has already been connected by you. And you can see this has got 1. So you don't want to go in there because you're going to use the charge and have to replace. So pretty much I created as long a bridge as I could with as many pieces as I could. So I made a 10-piece bridge and then I returned. Once you return, that's going to be 1 charge used. So then some of them have to be replaced. You're just going to farm quarry or farm a quick zone for the right pieces. 2 are going to be on memory amplifiers like this, and 1 is going to be on a distant node. Then, as you're going, you can just place the pieces. And because these have 2 charges, they're not going to decay, they're not going to need replacing, and you just build a bridge. And this has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I've got all these pieces as well that are planned. So then you just farm for 1 more piece and connect it on at the end. It sounds really complicated, but honestly, you will get it. So that's that. That seemed complicated, but that pretty much took care of all those challenges at once. Next, we're moving on to complete these encounters. Defeat the Shaper without detonating any anomalies. That is the balls he drops off. I just stood in the middle with totems, and there's like 2 balls that spawn. If you've got damage, you're going to nuke the Shaper, and then you just run around. That was a really simple challenge. Defeat Vessel of the Val within 5 seconds of each other. What that actually means is after you've killed the first one, you've got 5 seconds to kill the second one. And the amount of damage in this game, even my shitty totem build could do it. So just make sure they're close and make sure they raise up. So you sort of get the one really low. Then when they're both raised up, you just kill them. That's fine. Took me 2 goes. The first one I actually died. The second one just was really simple. I was like, oh, that's how you do it. So just wait until they're both next to each other and both raised and just nuke them. Because you don't want to kill one and then one of them pop down. And then you have to wait for it to pop up, because that's wasting your time. Defeat the Syndicate Mastermind whilst allowing all volatile skeletons to raise and without detonating any area in an area of level 80 or above. Now, I cannot do that one for the life of me. The Syndicate zone is an absolute hot garbage mess. And I'm totems, which means probably there's some issue because I can't target things. So I paid 50 chaos for that. So that's like the first one I had to buy for 50c. Defeat a monster with 5 essences. Again, that's just done through running Essence League and Remnant of Corruption for essence. Distant memories. I did all these on my own. What this basically means is nuke them. If you just nuke them down instantly, they won't even spawn these things. And then you just get the challenge. So luckily, because I've only seen these bosses really not very often, I didn't even realise these were challenges. They were eye level 75, so they weren't very tough, and I could just about nuke them with my Ice Spear totem build. So that's just a nuke challenge. That one, I guess, is kind of awkward, but it is kind of easy at the same time. It's not the worst. Reach level 90, you're going to get level 90. Identify 1,000 fractured items. If you're really, really boring like me and just want the challenges over, I ran the quarry and I ID'd about 600 items in about 3 hours. I just listened to a Joe Rogan podcast and watched some shit because I just wanted to get the challenges done. this is just going to, again, happen naturally through mapping. Complete the Cortex Memory 1. I had to pay for this, but I'll get on to that. 8 map mods. This is just when you're corrupting them for Atlas completion. You're probably going to get them. Ask your friends, just value your red maps. Once you've got 30 of them, just run them all together. Share the loot. Job's a good one. Easy game. If not, you're just going to have to keep valuing your own maps, and eventually you're going to get 30. I think I did about 22 on my own, and my friends then chipped in and we did like 8 as together. If you really want to check if they've got 8 mods, I personally just use that script and then Control D it and it tells you. But I'm pretty sure like it's obvious when it's got 8 mods because there's just a shit ton of lines of mods on it. Complete unique maps, again, farm in the lab. These kind of maps drop all the time, or you get them from Xana, because if Xana pops up with one of these, they count. So that's pretty simple in the sense that you're just completing some unique maps. Complete these encounters, I skipped. Complete the Cortex 2, I did, but I'll explain that. Deadly encounters, Val Temple, Shaper, and at Zeri, you're going to be able to do those on your own. And a Delve boss in an area of level 83, that is also one I paid for, which cost about 50C. I think it was 50C. And that's because last league, if you follow my YouTube channel, I delved to like Delve 900 or whatever it was. And I just really didn't want to delve anymore. I just didn't want to sit there and delve to get my mine down deep enough to see a boss that then I probably couldn't kill because I'm on this shitty totem build that has absolutely no defense, no leech and nothing. So someone popped up in chat and I just bought it because then it just means I don't have to delve. And I know delve is rewarding and fun, but I was just burnt out on delving, so I skipped it. Next we have, or the last one, complete Xana's questline, which is basically play the game. So once you've played the game, you're going to get them. So they're not that painful. The ones I ended up skipping, endgame grinds, because I don't ever do that. Map grind is ridiculous. This means you have to do 7,500 maps with 100 quant. On average, when you alch a map and chisel it, you're going to get about 65 quant. You're probably going to have to do about 10,000 maps. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Complete these encounters. I did the beachhead, I did a bestiary boss, and I did the temple. However, throughout all my playtime, I've got 365 Piranha coins. How on earth I am meant to get 5,000 Piranha coins when the scarabs cost 25C each? And then I have to find Kadaro, who is only available, if you didn't know, in Piranha Manor, or as as Janus inside of research as a tier 3. Well, betrayal is super fucking uncommon, and when you make when you make a new character, your board resets. So I just can't get Jun tier 3 in research. There's no possible way. Now people sell these in trade chat. They'll say like wanting to sell 3,000 coin item in my thingy for 7 exalts. Like I'm just not doing that. That is an awful challenge that is just designed for me by somebody that does not play the game. There is no reasonable way to get that challenge without trading a heavy amount. That challenge just needs to be changed flat out. It's not a good challenge. It's not even a challenge. It's just stupid. A challenge based around getting 5,000 coins when Piranha's coins aren't really in the game, and Kadaro is only available through this one specific method that goes against the whole principle of the game design of making new characters and experiencing new characters. But you can't do that because you have to stay and you have to farm fucking Jun or whatever she's called, Janus in tier 3 research. No thank you, skip. And connect memories to rewards. Now, for me, this is the big signal that the league was broken. I have got 36 challenges, and the one I have skipped is doing the bridge. Think about that. Like, actually just going to reward nodes, which I would happily go to every one of these reward nodes if they popped up. I would go to them, but they just haven't popped up over 3 characters at 90, 94, 91, and 90. So you'd have thought by now some of these nodes would have popped up. Maybe it's been fixed in the patch. I'll hold my hands up, they've fixed it. But by now, people are bored, and some have quit, and that just sucks, because I would have liked to have gone to these, but I don't really feel the motivation to. So, the one that I ended up paying for, which was a complete bitch, was Cortex 2. Now, this again, for me, I always like to do the boss blind, and I like to get to the boss, and I like to wait. But for this set of challenges, I had to effectively, if I'm not doing Cortex 2 or 1, I would have to do 2 of these. Now, which 2 do I pick? Maybe I do Connector Rewards. Maybe that happens in 3 months. And maybe Map Grind, if you really set your heart on it, you can do. Endgame grinds, I've done quite a lot, but that is a real grind. There's not really any you can do. So Cortex 2 for me was looking like the one that I was going to have to do. Now Cortex, again, 3 characters to 94 area. Have not seen the Cortex. I have now killed 14 mini-bosses. I've killed 14 mini-bosses. The Cortex has not spawned. I have no idea how you spawn it. There's no instruction. There's no lore. There's no storyline that tells you how to get the Cortex, the final boss. So that sucks. I've played this game a lot and I haven't even seen the final boss. That's one of the reasons I've got the challenges and I'm moving on to another game. Like, I feel like by now, if I've done 14 of these mini-bosses, I should have seen a big boss by now, or I'm just not doing something right. And if I'm not doing something right, the game isn't telling me. It's not like, we've noticed you're running this thing wrong. Please progress the story or whatever. Like, there's nothing explaining it. So I don't know how you get it to spawn. So, I had to pay for this one. This cost me 3 exalts, and you have to trust somebody. And there are scammers out there. Now, the guy I used, I'll see if he's online, was a guy called... Well, actually, I can actually find you through Reddit, because he ended up replying to me on Reddit. So the guy I ended up using was... Here we go. This guy. His name is Extremo_X. So you can see. I mean, I'm sorry if he scams you, but he didn't scam me. That's all I'm saying, right? This guy, yep, he's doing the challenges. So what he does is he finds somebody with a Cortex. He then pays that guy to use his Cortex. He then invites 4 other people in that pay 3 exalts, and he splits it. So the guy with the Cortex and him make about 6 exalts, because you get about 12 for doing it. So what I did was he did Cortex 1, 2, 3, and 5 for 3 exalts, and he was super nice about the whole thing. So actually, it's just reminded me, I did 1, 2, 3, and 5. Now, for those that don't understand, that cost 3 exalts. And that was sitting in trade chat. But just message that guy in his thread and say, yo, if you get one, like, PM me. And he'll PM you. Like, he just PM'd me when he had one. So 1, 2, 3, and 5 means complete the Cortex boss without being hit. Complete the Cortex boss without detonating. Complete it whilst there are at least 12 void pits, which I believe is extend the fight. So you need to be tanky, have good regen, and have a good build. And then also complete the Cortex boss counter without being hit, which by teleport, which is, I believe, like a thing on the ground. So you have to do a lot of dodging. Now, I really wish I didn't have to watch the fight on YouTube. I wish, as a player that had played 3 characters to 92 plus, I would have seen this boss. However, I had to watch the fight on YouTube, and to me that is a huge problem in Path of Exile, and people get burnt out. So for me, here's my quick idea of how to fix it. When you're chasing Shaper and you're trying to kill Shaper, you see Shaper take over certain bosses in the map when you're doing his memories. And you get to see kind of how the Shaper influences things, but you don't get to fight him and you don't see any rewards. My idea would be sort of like Delving and sort of like this, that now it's gone core in Delve, you should see the 4 bosses super early at set levels. Level 10, level 20, level 30, and level 40. And each one is a different fight. Each one is a different delve boss. When you go into that fight, you play out the fight as you would do normally, but before you reach like the last stage, the boss burrows and it delves down, right? And then you think to yourself, right, I did quite enjoy that fight, but I want to continue chasing it down to see if I can complete it and get its rewards. So I think the game should introduce the boss to you, but not give you any rewards early on, so you can't farm it at low level, but the player gets a sense of what it's like. Like, for now, like, there should, when you spawn your Cortex, there should just be a boss here, and it should say path to the Cortex, and then when you path to it, it releases the Cortex, and then when you go into the boss, area, it should be, you know, it starts to play it, you see a bit of the fight, and then he's gone, and then he moves, and then you have to path to like this location, and then this location, and then eventually it says something like, again, defeat the 4 distant memories, and then you get to see the Cortex, and then you've done it. And it might not drop the most reward because it's like the first encounter, but everyone gets to play it, and there's a route to play the new boss. Then, once you've cleared that initial boss and it's done, then it can spawn randomly and it can be a much higher level. That way, people have got to experience the fight. They might not have got the GG loot, so it's not worth power farming or re-leveling a character to re-farm it. But they get a sense of what it's like to fight the boss in the zone. Because I've played this game enough that I should be seeing the boss, and you can't. So I had to pay a guy to do these dodging challenges because, for one, I thought, if I do eventually see the Cortex, I might fluke one of these challenges, but I'm not going to do all of them for sure, so I'm going to have to see him multiple times. So I paid him 3 exalts, and I also paid a guy 2 exalts, and he did challenge 4, and challenge 4 is complete where there are no more than 6 void pits. So if this guy's doing 1, 3, 5 and you need more than 12, he obviously can't do 6. So you have to do 2 challenges. It's like a 2 challenge in 1, and for me, like, I couldn't do that, so I had to pay somebody. Like, I'd like to have sat here all league and redone the Cortex and got good at dodging, but it's just not popping up frequently enough for me to realistically be able to think I will set. Like, I could play for 3 months and never see the Cortex enough to do this. So I figured I've got the exalts, I'm paying for it, and I'm done. So yeah, it sucks to hear that you had to pay for it, but I did, because I just don't think it's rare enough. And I think that's a big thing in the game. There needs to be, now that there is a lot of stuff core, there needs to be a proper introduction of all the new stuff. So that's how I got the 36 wings. That's the recommendation of the challenges. These are the ones that I skipped. I wish the Cortex was more common. I wish I could have practiced dodging it or seen the fight at all. But I've played enough that I've got an experience of the league. There's been a new patch. I might mess about with this, but honestly, I don't think it changes that much. So there we go. That's how it is. Alright, thanks for watching. Again, this YouTube channel has been completely demonetized. I can't use AdSense due to some absolute rubbish issue, which I've explained before. So the only way I can keep doing these is if you support me, likes, comments. If you want to go a step further and buy me a coffee or a tip, there's a link in the description. Or you want to go to Twitch, where I stream live, and Twitch Prime for free. That's a free alternative if you think I'm worth it. If not, that's fine. It's entirely optional, but those are the ways to keep the channel alive, and I greatly appreciate all the support. Thank you.